It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast as we cover the latest property news every morning on iHeartRadio, Spotify and Apple, and wherever, of course, you get your podcast from. We are halfway through the working week, up to a Wednesday and up to October the 25th for 2023. Now, we talk about different speeds of the market in different cities and in different states, but the next suburb we are taking you to really does dance to its own tune. Like many luxury markets in Australia, there are just a different set of rules going on. Often the rate rises, for instance, that people have to endure, panic about, plan for, stress over, is not a factor in the luxury market because, as we know, a lot of these luxury properties are selling with cash transactions. I know. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And I want to just highlight, because we're taking you to Toorak next. We've mentioned it before, but in Melbourne, the 5 most expensive suburbs are Toorak number 1, Brighton number 2, Hawthorn 3, Malvern 4, and Armidale number 5. So yes, let's take you to Toorak in Melbourne to get a sense of the premium property market with Antoinette Nido from RT Edgar. And good morning, Antoinette. Welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning. First up, I have to say a big congratulations. You won the Residential Salesperson of the Year in Victoria, and this is 3rd year in a row.
Thank you, Craig. That's correct. A trifecta.
So what are you doing that nobody else is doing? Why are you hogging this award so much?
Look, I think it's a range of things, but I love what I do. I think is really important. For me, getting up in the morning, listing and selling homes, getting the best results for my very valued clients, it's what I love to do, and I'm pretty motivated to really genuinely getting the best results for my clients. I sell beautiful homes, but it's a people business. So it's all about connecting with people, listening. I've raised a family. So connecting with people, I think, is very important.
Yeah, no, connection is really the number one fundamental when it comes to any form of sales. And for those people, they probably won't know this unless they picked up on the very first podcast that we spoke to you about. And that is that you haven't really been doing this that long. And to have 3 of these Residential Salesperson of the Year 3 years in a row, I mean, it's all credit to you because you've only been in this industry for 3 years. Isn't that right?
Well, it's over 4 years. So, yes, I think that's right. I think another thing which has been given me a competitive edge in the marketplace is that I sell high-end properties, so my average sale is $10 million. And a lot of my buyers and sellers are very successful people. I know my way around a deal, property acquisitions, financial analysis. So I use financial analysis in showing a buyer what he must be prepared to pay to secure a property, and for a seller to say, this is a realistic assessment of what your property is worth.
All right, well, don't go away there, Antoinette. We will come back. We will talk more about the luxury market in Toorak next.
Gain insights with exclusive conversations from real estate professionals about buying, selling and investing across Australia.
Well, I see that the NAB has increased its property price forecast for 2023 and 24 due to a significant supply-demand imbalance. Now, the bank predicts an 8% price increase for this year, up from the previous 4.7% forecast, with an additional 5% rise expected in 2024. That is totaling 13% growth over 2 years. This upward revision comes despite projected interest rate hikes, and NAB attributes this trend to the ongoing demand for housing driven by factors like population growth, which of course is a big one, and rent increases, which is just off the charts, offset by, they say, an impact of the rising interest rates. While price momentum may vary, they say, by state, smaller capital cities like Perth, Brisbane and Adelaide are experiencing strong price growth due to limited buyer options intensifying competition. Now, if anybody had said at the start of this year that there would be a 13% growth over 2 years, I think you'd probably be scoffing. Well, if you're celebrating your birthday, happy birthday to you for October the 25th. Samantha Jade is turning a year older. She's turning 33. Ciara, the singer-songwriter, I think this was the singer that nobody knew what she looked like. I think they do now. She's turning 37. And Katy Perry is on the birthday calls. She's turning 38 today.
Listen to in-depth discussions with industry leaders on investing options, understanding different suburbs with insider perspectives and exclusive tips. It's the Main Centre forecast.
Around the country, let's check on the all-important weather word at your place in Sydney. Good morning to you. Expecting cloudy conditions, but it should be mainly fine. 25 is your forecast top. Melbourne expecting cloud cover with some showers to develop, and your top of 14, just 14 today. Brisbane, on the other hand, fine and sunny with 31 degrees. And in Perth, a super hot day, hot and sunny, and 35 is your forecast top.
Ready to step up your property knowledge? Access powerful insights with us.
And it is a Wednesday morning, and we are talking with Antoinette Nido from RT Edgar. Selling a luxury home is a big deal to get right, as it can greatly impact your wealth when large amounts of money are involved in a selling transaction in the luxury property market. However, selling high-end properties requires a distinct approach due to the different needs, the different expectations and the decision-making processes of luxury home buyers. So Antoinette is here to assist you in all of this and to talk about some of the tips. So Antoinette, what is your best advice for vendors who are interviewing agents for their homes? What are some of the pivotal questions people should be asking, do you think?
Look, I think the key thing I would say to prospective sellers is when you're choosing an agent, the most basic is have a look carefully at their sales and their testimonials. That's a given. Some of the really insightful tips would be, do you have rapport with your agent? And you want to choose an agent that is going to be genuinely have your best interests at heart. That's very important. So, it's not a transaction, it's a relationship. Someone who's going to go the extra mile to make sure that everything is done really perfectly for your property. And at the top end, all those details really, really matter. But certain things like, is your agent warm and engaging? Because if they're warm and engaging with you, they're going to be able to build rapport with a buyer, which is very important. And another thing which is very, very important, does your agent ask you what's most important to you? Because it's about the vendor and their journey.
Yeah, all fair comments, and want to ask you this one. How important is choosing the best strategy? Because when it comes to selling your home, you need fantastic pricing strategy. Sometimes this goes horribly wrong. So what are some of the things that you've seen go wrong when this happens?
So I think, look, the key thing is it's very important that a property is priced correctly, because consumers have all information is readily available at their fingertips. So it's important that a property is priced in collaboration with the vendor that is realistic based on what other similar properties have sold, but most importantly also what takes into account where the vendor, what their expectations are. If you price the property honestly, you're more likely to get the price that you want. And from the eyes of a luxury buyer, price equals quality. And sometimes a high-end buyer will say, well, a cheap home must be cheap for a reason. So honesty and doing your homework and sitting down with the vendor about expectations, these are all critical elements of pricing the home correctly.
And last time we spoke, we talked about how to prepare selling your property in springtime. I think it's fair to say that in some parts of the country, it's really starting to take off. Now, this morning, we're going to be finding out about your top 3 tips for getting the best price. That's the most important one, isn't it?
Absolutely. Once you've chosen the right agent that's going to work for you, you price the property correctly, making the property look its absolute best, the best that it can be, is very important. And you don't want an agent that's going to have the standard basic do's. When it comes to top-end property, everything must be done perfectly. You want to clutter appropriately, so you need to go through the home and make sure that spaces are inviting, and you want to present the home in the eyes of the buyer and how they will use the property. So things like I call light right is you want to have the